Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Evan and John, and you're listening to the Boomer and X Show.
All right, hey everybody, and welcome to the Boomer and X Show. We're coming at you with a slightly different format now. We're going to be trying something as we go through the football season, at least through the football season, something we're going to call our sports shorts.
Yep, we're not robbing from PTA, but we want to.
Or even PTI.
What's PTA?
Well, back when I was young, it was the Parent Teacher Association where your parents went to a PTA meeting. We are definitely not robbing from the PTA.
So pardon the interruption. We want to limit the episode
Roughly 30 minutes.
Yeah, so we want to make each topic. We want to hit 5 of our top topics that we want to hit for this last week and what we expect coming up, and just do it quickly.
So
our topics. Number 1, we're going to talk about LSU and Fournette. Number 2, SEC. What is that?
Introducing our 2015 NFL lineup. Get your favorite team for game day.
one of these 40 windows that I have open over here just started playing some crap. We'll leave that in, and so you were saying.
Okay. So the SEC and Big Ten and some of the betting lines. Number 3, we'll talk about fantasy. Then we'll hit some of the 0-2 teams and 2-0 teams, and then just general NFL games.
Yeah. So yes. So first off, Auburn and LSU last weekend. LSU clobbers Auburn. They beat them, but 45-21, and Leonard Fournette has 228 yards rushing, and he didn't even play the fourth quarter.
The highlight clip for that. So I saw the game highlight clip, and then I saw just Leonard Fournette's highlight clip, and you just cannot help but smile just watching some of them plays.
Well, it was obviously very impressive, and in getting ready to talk about the game today and Leonard Fournette, I went back and looked at some highlights from last year, and as the year went along last year, he got better, and in fact, I think he had his last 3 games of last year, he had more than 140 yards, and now 2 games of this year, more than 100, so that's 5 games in a row, if I remember, if I saw correctly, of 140 yards or more. So here's the deal. Now the talk has started. Here we are in now approaching late September. The talk has started. Heisman.
Yeah.
So your thoughts?
Yeah. He definitely is in the talk.
My thoughts are it's September. and I remember a few years ago when Geno Smith had just an amazing September quarterback in West Virginia, and everybody wanted to go ahead and put his name on the Heisman then.
Just give it to him then. Yeah.
By the time December rolled around, he wasn't even in the conversation. True. So I'll say this, it's September, and I don't want to – look, I hope he runs for 250 yards and scores 4 touchdowns every game. I would love nothing more.
Well, the main thing with that Auburn game is that was just some bad tackling.
Auburn's a bad team.
Yeah, that's true also. And you said that last episode.
Yeah.
It looked like either they were just going for the ball or they were really scared of hitting him.
Well, I think they were scared. This isn't the first time I've seen Auburn, and I thought they were soft.
Yeah.
And I think they're soft, and they didn't want to have anything to do with them, with tackling him. And Auburn's a bad team. They had no business being ranked in the top 10 when the season started. And of course, I don't like preseason rankings anyway. I think they're inappropriate to give somebody. But after their 2 subpar games leading up to LSU, I felt like LSU would win, and they did. Look, again, Auburn's bad. I would love to see Leonard Fournette continue throughout the rest of the year the way he's gone. But I don't even want to try to speculate on Heisman in September. But he looked great. Now, here's what I think is interesting. LSU has an away game coming up at Syracuse.
Yep.
And Syracuse was the home of one of the great all-time running backs. I mean, ever. And that's Jim Brown. And his style at 6'2", 230. Yeah, 6'2", 232 pounds. The same weight, same height, roughly. Similar running styles. So, and given the fact that this is a matchup that is extremely rare for LSU to go on the road into the Northeast U.S., why not make the comparison?
Have you seen any video on like the two?
Very similar.
It is.
It is. Yeah, it's similar in that they both had great moves. And here's something else that are both underappreciated. Neither one is considered much of a receiver, but they both were good at catching passes also. And Jim Brown also ran back kickoffs and/or punts.
He got like 2 receptions in the other game this Saturday?
Yeah, something like that. So. I don't know. It's just interesting.
I
think the fact that the two are playing each other. So Jim Brown and Leonard Fournette. I went ahead and did it. I committed a sin. I mentioned it in the same breath, even though Jim Brown is an NFL Hall of Famer and Leonard Fournette is a sophomore. After saying I won't go to the Heisman,
but you're calling him.
But I'll
compare him to
Jim Brown. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But just the fact that they're playing Syracuse, and so
just the one thing I noticed, and I've heard people say it, is he's running to hurt people. I mean, he's not darting around trying to find a hole. He's literally just running through guys, and that's his intent.
That's his intent.
And it worked. And there was even a player that said he won't. What was it? Do you know that guy's name? Said it won't be a problem guarding him.
Yeah, I've seen the guy. I've seen that video clip of him saying that 40 times since then, but the name is escaping me right now. But I don't think he'll be talking a whole lot before future matchups.
And then Les Miles got that quote and put it on his.
That's what I put it on the locker. So yeah, but anyway, Leonard Fournette, Heisman hype is a little early, and I want to see how he does against legitimate defenses.
Wow, you wrapped that up nicely, John. Okay, so up next we have SEC Big Ten, and you wanted to talk about the lines also on the betting lines, mainly how the SEC is down, I guess you could say, and the Big Ten is up, and that's proven with right now two of them are
it's something that we touched on that I found when we did our Boomer and X football preview. I thought that the Big Ten held interest for me.
Yeah,
Ohio State certainly is the reigning national champion, and they have one of the best coaches, one of the best college coaches out there in Urban Meyer. Michigan State is one of those teams that just quietly goes about winning, and and year in and year out over the past few seasons they've been very good. And now we've got an Ohio State, Michigan State that are 1 and 2, ranked in the nation after Bama lost to Ole Miss last Saturday night.
They dropped 10.
Second year in a row. Yeah. And Bama will rebound.
Yeah.
They'll rebound, but
their wide receiver, he's got to have shoulder injury. I mean shoulder surgery.
Does he? So he's done.
Yeah, he's done.
5 turnovers, and usually, if you watch a game, and now we're talking about Bama and Ole Miss, and 5 turnovers that Bama had. Usually, when you see a turnover margin of -5, and it was only a 1-score game, you figure that the better team did not win. But in watching the game, I still felt like the better team won the game. And that was the feel I got. It was at Alabama. It was a revenge game for Alabama.
See, I did not. I saw that matchup, and I was like, Ole Miss is not going to go in Bama at home and beat them 2 years in a row.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I was like, after losing. So, like you said, it was a revenge game.
It was a revenge.
And
they did.
And Ohio won it.
Oh, even Ole Miss won it.
And Ole Miss won it. Looking at notes and talking at the same time don't work too good for me.
So some college lines coming up for this coming week.
Now this is something you more follow than me because I don't. But you follow it. Do you actually bet on some of these games, or you just look at it to see?
I look at it to see, and
I'm in
a pool. I'm in a pool.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And over the past 3 weeks, I've been 5-5 each 3 weeks. So I'm at least a model of consistency.
Yeah.
Here's a line that I think is askew. I think Syracuse is getting. Speaking of Syracuse versus LSU, Syracuse is getting 23.5 points at home at a noon kickoff Eastern Time, 11 Central Time.
Wow.
Is It's in Syracuse. It's a long road trip. B, LSU is probably feeling pretty good about themselves. And you know how when you really have a big win, there can be a little, you start reading the newspaper, you start watching ESPN, and you start believing how wonderful you are. That can lead to being a little bit flat.
Yeah, I know that firsthand. I've done that a couple times.
Reading the ESPN clippings about you? Yeah, same here. So 23.5 points. Syracuse is 3-0, although I don't think they've played anybody all that good. I'm going to say Syracuse getting 23.5 points at home.
I don't think that'll happen. I think they'll win.
You think LSU will win?
No, I think Syracuse will win.
Okay. You think Syracuse is going to beat LSU?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Then I would say bet everything on them getting 23.5 points.
Wait, how does that work? I thought 23 meant that thinks they're gonna win by that many points.
23.5. Syracuse is getting 23.5 points. That means if they lose by 23, they still win according to the betting line.
Oh.
LSU has to win by 24 or more just to cover.
Okay.
I don't think LSU covers, although I do think they win the game.
Okay. Well, when you asked me, I meant I think they'll win that bet, not necessarily the game.
Okay, so you think Syracuse covers?
Yes.
LSU wins?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Right, I agree. Mississippi State is a 3.5 point underdog at Auburn. Auburn is bad.
Yeah.
They're just bad. And I don't think they're going to beat Mississippi State by 4 points or more. I don't think they're going to beat them at all.
So you're saying bet all day on that one?
I'd say take Mississippi State, getting the 3.5 points, absolutely.
No way you just did that again. Dude, you're on you got a 5-minute clock in your head or something. Well, okay, this is working out for us. So next we have fantasy football. We are 2-0 in our league, and it wasn't quite as a blowout as last week. Actually, we were behind and we needed our guys to.
We got a fourth quarter touchdown from
our last minute pickup that you made.
Moncrief, yeah.
Yeah.
Indianapolis receiver, put him on the roster. And like you said, at the last minute, and we played 2 Indy receivers, figuring that
I was iffy about it because you have the Jets secondary, which from everything I've read, the Jets line, their defensive line's we don't got to worry about that pass.
Well, and Darrell Rivas was back also,
and Cromatine, I can't remember. I have to remember that guy's name. He's just as good as Rivas. But they have a strong secondary, and they also shut down the run.
They did. They shut down everything.
And so that Moncrief, he got it done for us.
He had a long touchdown catch in the fourth quarter, and that was the difference for us. We had D'Angelo Williams in that on that team, didn't we?
Negative.
Okay. God, I'm getting my fantasy
Andre,
teams.
That night, we had Andre Johnson playing.
But I mean for the whole weekend. Who were our running backs? Here's what we did have. We had Ben Roethlisberger and, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
And I'll take that all day, every day. Which leads me to 2 teams I want to briefly talk about, which seem to be going in opposite directions and doing things that we don't think of them doing. Pittsburgh is an offensive juggernaut, and they have done this without 2 of their main offensive weapons.
Which they'll have back.
Well,
no,
one of Le'Veon Bell
yeah.
he's coming back this weekend in the game at St. Louis, and we still got a couple of weeks to go on Martavis Bryant.
Here's the thing about last week's game. They did 77 plays, and Roethlisberger called almost all of those plays from no huddle.
Here's a point I want to make. If you take the Pittsburgh Steelers uniforms off of them and you put the Denver Broncos uniforms on them, all we would be hearing about would be the offensive juggernaut that Denver is and Peyton Manning is. That is all we would be hearing, and you don't hear a word about it.
I'm starting to hear it.
Not much.
Yeah, you're right.
Not near as much.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm starting to hear it. I mean, people are looking at that Pittsburgh offense where the coach is just sitting over there with the clipboard on the bench, and he's just watching the game happen.
Well, and Ben has been around long enough, and I think he's smart enough, and he's got this figured out, and he's in his 3rd year with offense coordinator Haley, and things are working.
And that offensive coordinator, in his interview, he said every play that we have, Big Ben has an opportunity to change that play. Every play they have. And Big Ben, he put it to his guys' conditioning.
He has definitely matured some over the years, and he needed to, and he has. And I think that bodes well for the Pittsburgh Steelers as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah, because he loves getting hit.
He withstands it very well, and sometimes he holds the ball to the point where you think he does enjoy it. And another team I want to mention going in the opposite direction, Baltimore's defense. We think of Baltimore as being a strong defensive team. Everybody thought they were going to shut down a very mediocre Oakland Raiders team last week, and they got lit up to the tune of 33 or 35 or
it was 31,
30
35
something points. It was ridiculous. So Baltimore's defense is on a downtrend. Pittsburgh's offense is on an uptrend. And
definitely Pittsburgh. I was impressed by them, and we drafted. We have 3 of their players. No, we don't have Le'Veon Bell, do we? Well, we have 2 of their top players, and I'm definitely looking forward to Le'Veon Bell coming back because I want to see what Pittsburgh does. And for Baltimore, I have no clue what's going on there. But they need that defense definitely needs to fix things up.
So we're 2 weeks. We've got 2 weeks behind us, and we have some 0-2 teams that I want to bring up. And I want to ask you who you think is in trouble and who you think is going to pull out of this Baltimore 0-2.
I don't like it.
You think they're in trouble?
Yeah.
Why?
Just because we just talked about it, they're on a downward trend, and I don't see them really picking that up.
They don't have a lot of offensive firepower. They win with defense, and their defense is not playing well. Houston 0-2.
J.J. Watt's got that whole team on his back, and he can't do it all by himself.
I think I see the same problem with them that I see with Baltimore. They were winning with defense. The defense is not playing near as well. And where's Jadeveon Clowney? Where is he?
Hurt?
Nothing.
Knee?
Nothing.
I don't know.
Nothing.
Is he playing?
He's supposed to be back by now.
Oh.
Nothing. And by the way, I'm going to go ahead and say a huge bust. First round draft choice last year for them, and we saw it in the last part of his career at South Carolina where he was farting around. He wasn't playing hard because he was protecting his status.
I think you said that our first or second episode. You were talking about him.
I don't like him. I never liked him, and Houston is just threw away a lot of money on that. So Houston 0-2, they're in trouble. Arian Foster will be back, but they win with defense, and the defense isn't playing well. Indianapolis 0-2, a big surprise.
Yeah. I picked them to win their conference, and I think they still can. I just because they can, they can do it. They're just not playing very well. They're one of the teams that are 0-2 that I think can recover from this.
I think they'll do okay. They started out 0-2 last year and ended up, going deep into the playoffs, and I think they even made the AFC Championship game again.
Mm-hmm.
They did. That was the whole deflate ball thing, right?
Yeah.
I think they'll recover, but they have problems, and I don't see them running. I don't see them making a big playoff run.
Okay, well I disagree, sir.
New York Giants 0-2.
Yeah, and that's another one I think they'll come around.
They have got to find an offensive weapon besides Odell Beckham Jr.
And I think when Victor Cruz gets back, it'll even out. But, you're right. They have to be able to.
They're not running well. Nobody else is catching passes. Ruben Randall has not come through.
No.
Now, they just Peterson, a receiver that had some drops in the first 2 games. I just read this morning, he has been let go.
Oh, wow.
So
that's what happens.
Yeah, that's what happens. Here's one that's surprising: Philadelphia Eagles 0-2. Thoughts?
That Dallas Philly game was just the worst
It was ugly.
game I've ever watched. I don't think they're going to do too good. What do you think?
I think Chip Kelly he brought something from the. I think he's going to. It's starting to look like he's going to be a college genius NFL flameout as a coach.
Yeah.
He's made a lot of personnel moves, probably some of the highest profile moves have since he's in his tenure at Philadelphia. Big time personnel moves. They don't appear to be working out, and I think they're in trouble. Detroit is 0-2. Matt Stafford, to me, wasn't last year what he should have been, what everybody thought he would be. I'm not seeing a lot this year. He took a huge beating in that game. They're having to throw too much. They don't have much of a running game. Their defense isn't what it was. I think Green Bay absolutely runs away with that division. They're 2-0, but we'll get to 2-0 teams in a minute.
I think Chris Johnson, last year you wanted to get rid of him, and he just never produced, and I haven't seen much out of
Calvin.
him. What I
Calvin
said,
Johnson?
Chris.
Yeah.
I said Chris.
Yeah, Megatron. No knock on him, but again, he can't do it all, and he's up there in age, and more than age though, he's got the miles on. He carried that team offensively for a few seasons, and he took a lot of punishment doing it. I don't look for them to pull out of this. The Chicago Bears are 0-2. They're an ugly 0-2. I think they may be the worst team in the NFL. John Fox is coaching them now, and they will be on the uptrend in a couple of years, but not right now. The Saints are 0-2. They looked deplorable against Tampa the other day. Drew Brees apparently has a shoulder injury, but before that he wasn't throwing well. And Seattle is 0-2. They will get well as the season goes along. I think they will.
I saw Chandler came back today.
Yeah, he did. But I think Arizona wins that division.
I agree. They're looking good.
They're 2-0 and they look good doing. As long as Carson Palmer stays healthy, they're going to be to be reckoned with.
Some of the top 2-0 teams. Some of your top 3.
Green Bay.
Yep.
New England.
And
Dallas is 2-0, but they're not going to stay there with Romo and Des Bryant both hurt.
Yeah, that's a I don't know. They're bringing in Cousins.
Dallas is 2-0, and they're not going to stay there with Romo and Des Bryant both hurt. Pittsburgh is 1-1, but I think they will do very well as we go forward, as long as Ben Roethlisberger stays healthy and Antonio Brown.
Let's see. The Saints are playing who this week? It's a Sunday game, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the Saints have been taken off of all primetime matchups this year. The Saints are playing Carolina, and they're a 3-point underdog. The Saints are a 3-point underdog. What do you think?
I'd say that's fair.
I'm gonna say, I think Carolina wins. The Giants are a 3.5-point favorite over the Redskins. You know, Washington ran the ball and in general moved the ball against what supposedly is a very good St. Louis defense last week. Until I see the Giants being able to put together something of an offensive threat was going through somebody other than Odell Beckham Jr., I'm going to go with Washington on this one.
Yeah, me too.
Indiana at Tennessee. Indiana is a 3-point favorite. Tennessee's 1-1. Indiana is 0-2. Mariota came back to earth in week 2 after setting the league on fire in League 1. What do you think?
You know what I think? I don't do well with these questions. This blitz talk ain't good for me. No, Mariota definitely. Actually, he was on the guy who just won DraftKings $1 Million Weekend. He was that guy's starter.
He was his starter.
So he's worth $1 million, I guess.
Here's what I'm going to... Well, he got a lot more than that in his contract, so he's probably worth more than that. I'm going to say this. Not as good as Week 1 against Tampa, not as bad as Week 2 against Cleveland. Cleveland actually has an underrated defense.
And I said that in our sports preview episode. I said
it's hard to foresee Indianapolis going 0-3. That's really hard to see, but I'm going to go with Tennessee at home.
Alrighty.
Tampa Bay at Houston. Houston's a 7-point favorite.
Houston is?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. It's Tampa Bay, and they're at home.
It's at Houston.
Yeah. So Houston's got that.
I think a very poor New Orleans Saints team made Tampa look better last week, but I don't think evidently Houston's not any good either. Houston has no quarterback play whatsoever.
Nope.
And so therefore DeAndre Hopkins, after burning it up in Week 1, had nothing last week.
Mm-hmm.
They have no running game until Arian Foster gets back. I think
so. Week 9
that gets my vote. That gets my vote for ugly game of the day. San Francisco at Arizona.
Arizona definitely.
Arizona is a 6.5-point favorite. It is at home. I am falling in love with the whole situation in Arizona. I believe they are getting an offense to match a very good defense.
And defense, yeah.
Yeah, well, the defense has been there, and I think the offense is getting there. I think Arizona wins that division. I think they go 3-0 against San Francisco. San Francisco got lit up at Pittsburgh last week. I mean, lit up. And that game was way out of reach. And they scored some garbage time points, but until the fourth quarter garbage time, when Roethlisberger wasn't even playing anymore, and I'm assuming some of the defensive starters were out as well, I don't think San Francisco's all that great. And I think they got exposed a little bit. So Arizona. Chicago at Seattle. Seattle's not going to go 0-3 at home against a horrible Chicago team.
Yeah, it's not happening.
The line, and I don't ever remember seeing an NFL line this big. 16 points.
Wow.
16 points. I think they win and cover. Chicago's just terrible, and I believe Seattle is going to be taking out some frustration. Jacksonville at New England. That's a 13-point line right there.
Wondering if I wanted to play Brady because he's at home against Jacksonville.
versus Roethlisberger on the road.
Versus Roethlisberger on the road.
Well, that's our team we share.
yeah.
My thoughts is that Brady could very well be sitting down by the time the fourth quarter starts because they're 40 points ahead.
Yeah.
Whereas the other game offers a little bit more shootout potential. I'm leaning toward Roethlisberger.
Yeah, and me too. Especially because Le'Veon Bell's coming back this week. I mean, that settles that conversation, I guess. I mean, but I definitely for that game, New England at Jacksonville, I think New England's going to win it.
Yeah. I don't see that going any way other than New England winning and winning with ease. Cincinnati at Baltimore.
Cincinnati.
Baltimore is a 2.5 point favorite.
Well, I mean, Flacco did, his fair share.
They're 0-2. I'm going to have to go with Cincinnati. I mean, it's hard to believe again. Baltimore's going to go 0-3, but
yeah, that is. And I got to stay true to what I've already said. They're on that downward trend. I think they're going to continue. I mean, they just don't show any signs of recovering yet.
Kansas City at Green Bay. The Packers are hot. Now, they will probably be without Eddie Lacy or with a very subpar, under 100% Eddie Lacy. But Starks comes in, and he plays well when they've used him, even if they have to depend on Starks, and I think they will.
All they have to do is shut down, Green Bay, all they have to do is shut down Jamal Charles because that's all
That's it.
they're doing.
That's it.
I have Macklin, who's their wide receiver 1, and he
Nothing.
didn't get anything.
Nothing. Alex Smith still hasn't completed a touchdown pass to a wide receiver.
I think it was 20 passes all game.
Yeah, since the Bush administration.
But yeah, he just doesn't pass the ball, and I mean,
the Broncos at Detroit.
Oh, Broncos.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so yeah, that's it, folks. Well, I guess not quite. We want to give a tribute, or I guess just talk about.
I mentioned a little bit now.
Yogi Berra,
who passed away last night, Tuesday night, the 22nd.
90 years old.
Yeah, it was 69 years to the date after his major league debut.
Yes.
Right?
Oh yeah, it was to the day. He started on this. On the 22nd.
Yogi Berra was actually a World War II veteran and was involved in D-Day.
Yeah. He has 3 kids. Let's see. So, he was the dude was around forever. He was before your time. So, what I know about him is just as a Yankees manager, and didn't he go to the Mets?
Yeah. He managed the Mets as well. But as a player, coach, and manager, he was involved in 21 different World Series and won 13 of them.
He won 10 World Series.
13 as a player,
manager,
coach, and manager.
You're right. You're right. And he played in 75 World Series games. I think he holds let's see, he's up in the all-time top 10 for 11 categories in the career World Series numbers. You name it. Most at-bats, plate appearances, hits, doubles, singles, RBIs, home runs, total bases, and runs scored.
And he was an 18-time All-Star.
Dude. And he was a catcher, right?
He was a catcher.
I saw his little bio. It said catcher and outfielder, but I don't think I've ever seen him out in the outfield. I've never seen him play.
I think of him as a catcher.
Yeah.
And again, really even before my time.
Yeah.
But truly one of the legends of the game, and he was almost known more for his quirky quotes.
The universal
yogiisms.
Yogiisms.
Things like when you come to a fork in the road, take it.
Universal inspirational speaker. And he didn't even try.
Yeah, inspirational. I guess in the fact that if this guy can get by, we all can. Maybe that kind of inspiration.
I think didn't he coin the phrase "It ain't over till it's
over"? It ain't over till it's over.
And
sadly, now
I saw that.
It's over.
I saw it last night when that got the ESPN update. It said it's over.
It's over. It ain't over till it's over. When you come to a fork in the road, take it. He also said, "I didn't say everything that I said."
Yeah.
Let's see. What are some of the others? There was the 90% of this game is half mental. That may be slightly paraphrasing, but anyway, yogiisms are a part of Americana now. So Yogi will definitely be missed. This is wrapping up our first of our sports shorts. We're going to try to bring these to you on a very regular basis, highlighting a whole lot of football talk as we go through the next few months.
We'll try and keep them, restricted. Keep them to a short.
Yes.
And we don't want to be throwing out any hour-long episodes for just a quick update.
Right, not for our shorts.
So catch us on the Boomer and X Show at yahoo.com to email us, or you could go to the Contact Us button on our website, and that's theboomerandxshow.com.
Show.com is our website.
And you can always check us at Boomer and X Show on our Twitter handle. And I'm all out of words, John.
I've been all out of words for about 35 seconds now.
All right, y'all take care.